Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CoinNewsExtra interview session, a program where we invite innovators, stakeholders, and influencers in the blockchain, crypto, and fintech ecosystem to come talk about the state of the ecosystem and their contributions. So, with me today, I have Abdelfatah Mouttaqui, who is the co-founder of Merge Blockchain. Abdelfatah, you are welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Excuse me?
You are welcome. You're welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation and thank you to make blockchain known and also implemented within the African and the globe.
Interesting. That's nice. Nice to have you. So we'll be looking at solving real-world challenges with blockchain solution. So let's see how it goes. But before we go straight to that, could you just give us a brief about yourself and your background?
I am Abdelfatah Mouttaqui, originally from Morocco, been living in South Africa for the last 15 years. I studied here and working here. I have my family, alhamdulillah, and also the co-founder of Emerge Blockchain, a company that specializes in blockchain education, implementation, and coaching. Our strength is based on the work flow, as well as our strategy where we implement education for non-technical individuals, and mainly the executives and government officials, where they are asking the right questions about the technology, and not necessarily on a financial level, but on a societal level. And that's where we are working, to bring the blockchain to our lives, where the users are benefiting from any value that governments has to offer or a private company has to offer.
First, I want to know what you are doing in the ecosystem. So talking about solving real-world challenges or problems with blockchain solutions, what are some of the challenges facing the world today? We see the pandemic. So what are the challenges that are facing the world?
Currently, as we know, we are in a pandemic, and that's a platform that provided us with insight on where are our vulnerabilities. And mainly vulnerabilities are in interconnection between the different institutions, and that's something that the blockchain, as we know, can fix. And also it's the real time track and tracing when it comes for the spread of this COVID, and those things are mainly the first issue to be tackled. But also the education, something that's a major thing worldwide, where it's also been interrupted with this pandemic, and both the health and education are something that we specialize on, and we see that there are the challenges, mainly because there is an understanding on a technical level, and most of the time the decision makers are not that technical. Therefore, the interface between the technical and the non-technical is a real problem now, and slowing some of the process within the government entities, because we see the private is ahead of the government, and that's you can see in Europe, America, and Asia, where the privates is way ahead than the government, and now they're trying to explain those processes and those technological terms and those functionality of the technology itself, and it's not something that you explain, it's something that you implement, and that's what they are not getting at the moment.
Interesting to know, and looking at some of the challenges facing the world, which we've been able to state some of them. So we are looking at solving real world challenges with blockchain solution. How can blockchain be used to bring solutions to these challenges and problems?
Well, the main stakeholder, and I would say the main shareholder, the participants in the solution, is the regulators and the policies makers, because once we are able to explain how the technology works for the regulators and the policymakers within different industries and field, could be departments, could be ministers, could be the authorities that hold the standards of a certain practice. Those are the people that we start with. Therefore, the solution, it has to be presented to them for them to be able to understand it and implement the rules within a protocol, because the solution starts on a political level, and that's why we see the financial as advanced, that even the central banks in the world are issuing reports about the digital currencies and about how the like, for example, the yuan of the Chinese, that's going to be digitalized, and also the euro, that's we know that the European Commission has released something about the digital euro, and this is what you want to see, is that the regulators or the authorities has to be able to understand the solution is in the policies, and the policies can be translated to smart contracts, which will easily make the department or a function visible digitally, and can see where are the gaps and how we can fix those gaps. Therefore, we won't see a impact immediately if you have to run a system on a blockchain, but it takes time for you to identify the ecosystem where developers, academia, investors, and authority come together and decide, okay, we want to make this process digital, but also those are the rules of this protocol. And every protocol, every industry should have a protocol that's linked to the main protocol, which is the government itself. It's necessary that the government starts looking at the blockchain as a solution to increase efficiency and decrease the cost and increase value. And by increasing the value, the tax also going to be increased, where the tax will allow the government to do more projects and to solve more problems as they come.
Interesting. Talking about the government using blockchain to do some things. I know I will be get into that stage to see how they can liberate the blockchain. But before we get to that question, you are the co-founder of Emerge Blockchain. How and what solution does it bring to the ecosystem?
Well, Emerge Blockchain is working on three aspects. And the first aspect that Emerge Blockchain working on is health. As we know, it's more important now to talk about that, what we say subject, because it's a subject of the moment and you cannot ignore it. Therefore, we need a solution for the health industry or the health system in general to function within, and save by, connecting the efforts, and, bringing the effort in one system where, we're not double spending, money to research for the same thing. Is more safer that we come together on one system and then plug our research, and together we'll find a solution. And with the help of the AI, with the help of other technology, we can gather more data that will allow us to come to a solution, an exact solution that should be implemented. And when we implement it, is accountable. It's immutable. You can't change, because the research is there, and then whatever is double, it disappears, and we are, left with pure research that guide us to where we should be, to reach a certain target within our the COVID trace and tracking and all of it. Therefore, the first company we looked at is Patientry. Patientry is American protocol, but run by a CEO, which is Carissa, and we work with her with educating government on the on in Africa and the Middle East. And currently we're working with Dubai, which is one of the main hubs of blockchain and blockchain implementation. And what the protocol does is accumulate all those information and make sense of it, and protect the users, from any spread of their health information, which they have control over it, and at the same time they are benefiting and having value by, if there is a request for the information to be used in the research or development in terms of medicine or illnesses or all of that, then there is a ready data available for that to happen, for the research to advance. And also it's recorded in one place where, the value goes into a tokenization, where there is a token, for information gets to the user. Therefore, there is value not just for the protocol, it's also value with the users when they share their information for research purposes and product development within the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
Now, that's the
Okay.
patientry side. Now, the first is the health, and now we're talking business. Now, in business, even with enterprise solutions, we have found, also something to start with health. And in that, we are working with a company called Origraph, and this is a company from India. The CEO is Subbu, and this Origraph has created what we call the iPass for vaccine, dosage, for vaccine track and trace, and also the ability to monitor the temperature live from wherever.
Looking at what things are doing and looking at the blockchain, how can companies and government of nations leverage blockchain technology?
Well, first of all, they need to understand, what is blockchain on the ecosystem level, because their involvement is going to be very transparent. And the first challenge, are they ready to be transparent? And that's the first question you give, because it's not about implementing a blockchain, because they understand what blockchain is. They're not ready to share and expose, the real problem. And I'm talking about Africa in general. The first problem that the Africans are facing with the government implementing such technology is corruption. That's the first thing we have to deal with, because if there is a accountability, there is efficiency, and there is transparency, if they're not ready for it, there is no words to be described, or being explained to them for them to actually implement. Whatever it will be said is going to be opposed. But the first discussion is to be open with government is, are you ready to be transparent? When they say yes, then okay, then this is the system and this is how it works. And creating an ecosystem where there's consensus from the top authorities to the bottom to the user, it's a kind of, a trust that built within this ecosystem. And the trust is the technology itself. Now, saying that, Africa or any other nation that's not ready for this kind of transparency, Emerge Blockchain is suggesting a concept where we call it blockchain for you. Now, the blockchain for you is, instead of us looking at government, instead of us looking at enterprise, we want to educate the mass, the youth, and the professionals about what blockchain can do for them as a person, as a citizen, than what the blockchain can do for government to generate taxes, or for the private to generate profit. Therefore, the approach here that we are taking is at the grassroots level and educating the mass through a campaign that we are launching this year. And hopefully you're going to hear about it also, where the masses are going to be educated on a level of a digital party. And a digital party, is where a group of community come together. They build this, platform where, there is a political involvement, and there is a business involvement and a societal involvement, where this platform will offer education, job creation, and also sustainable project that we can get financed by. All cryptocurrencies are ready to finance this project, and we have representation in every country in Africa. And this how we're going to take blockchain to Africa, not waiting for the government to interfere, not allowing the private to take full control of the data and the full control of people's privacy. Therefore, we will educate people about cybersecurity, we'll educate people about AI, we'll educate people about blockchain, and we'll educate people our IoT. And that's how we're going to enter into the fourth industrial revolution held by youth. And whoever wants to join us, you are welcome. And the revolution is only starting.
Thank you very much. It has really been an amazing time out with you, Abdelfatah Mouttaqui, the co-founder in Emerge Blockchain. Thank you for joining us on CoinNewsExtra Internet.
My pleasure and my honor. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I look forward to talk to you again in a short while.
Thank you very much.